Good morning. Today I'm going to be showing you guys my pre-ride inspection routine for my 2000 XR650R and how to start this legendary King of the Desert Baja 1000 winning ground thumping dual sport motorcycle. Before we get started though, I want to share some things and show you some things to look for to ensure that your bike is in safe riding condition to minimize your potential when you're on the road for things possibly going wrong. So the Motorcycle Safety Foundation suggests checking 6 key areas of your bike before each ride. They use the acronym TCLOCS, T-CLOCS, to help us riders remember to look at T standing for tires, wheels and rims, C, controls, L, lighting and electrical, O, oil and fluids, C, chassis, and S, stands. So, real briefly before I get into the demonstrative part of this, tires. Check to ensure tires are in good condition before riding. So you want to be looking over your tire tread right here. This one's pretty bald because some guy, I don't know who, likes to do donuts with it or make it, make skid marks. So but you want to check that because especially on bikes like this, if you have bald tires in the rain, you're going down. Bald tires do not match well with wet pavement, and on a motorcycle you are very exposed to road hazards, so keep that in mind. Check your rims. Make sure that your rims aren't cracked. These rims are fine, but check them. If you have a busted spoke or something, replace it. It's pretty straightforward. Make sure your tire pressure is accurate. If you live in an area where your temperature fluctuates a lot, tire pressure can change the difference of your ride quality and can sometimes mean the difference between you staying on the bike and you being on the ground. So minimize your risks, be smart. Controls, verify that all your rider controls operate smoothly. So that means your clutch, you're checking your clutch, you're checking your horn, your light switches, your kill switch, your directional turn signals, your computer, your high beam, low beam, your throttle control. Make sure that this isn't sticking. Oil these cables, check your brakes, check that your shifter's working, check all the things that are important to the functionality of the motorcycle. Make sure your brakes aren't seized. Lights and electrics. Make sure your bike's battery, this one doesn't have one, but make sure that it's installed and working properly. Check for cracked lenses, headlight lens, turn signal lenses on both the front and the rear, your tail light. Check that stuff. Don't try to follow me, guys. Just follow me on Instagram, LOL. Yeah, if drivers on the road can't see where you're going or your intent to turn or stop or go, you are at risk. You're at a higher risk of crash. Chassis. Check for body cracks and make sure no structural damage is apparent. So that means your frame. Check your frame. Your subframe. Check the rear support for the back of the seat. This is an aluminum frame, so the weight in the rear, it can't handle that much. Don't be carrying extra weight. You're gonna have a cracked subframe. Make sure that the welds are not cracked. Check that stuff because you do not want to find out that your frame's cracked when you're going 80 down or 75 miles an hour down the road. You just don't want to do it. And then finally, stands. Make sure that the bike can adequately support itself when you're off the bike. So this bike only has a side stand installed. It's straight, it's fine, but some bikes have a center stand that it sits up here. Make sure that those are straight and that the bike can be supported on them because you don't want to be holding your bike when you're off it because that kind of defeats the purpose of getting off it. So now that we have that out of the way, I'm going to actually show you the procedure to starting this beast, which is, I guess, what you guys wanted to see. There's a procedure for these, and a lot of people are intimidated by them for this reason here. Little backstory on these bikes though. They only made 2,500 of these for a period of 7 years, and most of them are on the West Coast. This one is serial number 963, so it's one of the early ones. But this is the reason that so many people are terrified of these big bore bikes. That Kickstarter right there. And believe me, after you check out this process, you're gonna be like, I wonder why people are so kind of turned away from these. Other than the fact that I'm 6'3" and I struggle to get on this thing, that's maybe another reason. But yeah, so I'm gonna get my tripod set up and hopefully get a good angle on this for you. So bear with me, I'll be right back. All right, so before I actually get on the bike, I wanna show you some controls underneath here. So this is the screw that holds this in place is off, but this is your idle control screw. And then you've got a choke lever right here. Now, I've been riding the bike, so you don't need to have this on to start this now, but if you were going to start this cold, you'd want to put this up and kick through a few times like I'm going to show you in a little bit. All right, so I'm going to show you this from two sides. So this would be considered your left, this is where your left leg would sit, and the other side's your right leg where the Kickstarter is. So I'm going to show you the controls on this side that you need, and then I'll turn the bike around and I'll show you the process of kicking it over. So from a cold start, if you hadn't been riding this in a while, you're going to want to push this choke control up all the way, and you're going to want to kick through with your decompression lever engaged up here a few times to get some gas in the chamber of the cylinder chamber, the compression chamber rather. Where I've been riding this, you don't really need to do that. You can just kind of kick it through until it stops. There's a little lock or a notch that you kind of can feel on this side with your foot. At that point, you want to pull your decompression lever in. It's going to push down about 2 inches, and then you want to just kick through like that. So you want to make sure that when you're starting this, at least for this kit, this has the Baja Light Designs light kit on it, so your kill switch is actually pushing up to running lights. If it's down below, it's not going to start. So I'm going to turn the bike around now, and we will do that same procedure on this side so I can show you what you got to do from this angle. All right, so this is the other side of what you just saw. Now, your bike's not going to start if your fuel petcock is not turned on. So that's you got to make sure that that's turned on, off, and then your reserve, which is for when your gas gets low, it lets you drain the tank and use what's left in your gas. You want to find a gas station if you have to get on reserve, because walking with this, not so fun. So make sure it's on. Your Kickstarter is going to come out like this, and what's going on when you pull the decompression lever, there's a cable and it's lifting one of the intake valves, which is taking the compression out of the cylinder, and so you can kick through easily through the motion of the piston's travel. So that's what you're doing with the kickstart. So this is the process of starting it from the side. So you want to make sure that this switch with this particular bike is clicked up one. You're going to go ahead and step on the bike. Now this is warm, you just heard it start up, so it doesn't need to be, the choke doesn't need to happen, but you're kicking through, right? That's the motion that you're doing. So I am actually where the notch in the thing is, I believe, because I can't push down anymore. So I got to pull on the decompression lever, which releases it a little bit, and now you let up on it, and you should be able to just kick right through. So if it's tuned the right way, and it's, you know, everything's close to right, these things are easy to start. But people are afraid of them because of these things, which is fine because this is not a bike for beginners. So anyway, that's my demonstrative, I guess, speech on how to start one of these big bore bikes. Don't ask, I'm not going to let you ride this one. So anyway, stay cool, and I will see you later.